Hey everyone, today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the eufy S1 Pro. This is their real-time self-cleaning robot vacuum and mop. Eufy did send me the sample, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. Very simple and straightforward. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. First out of the box is some compliance information as well as a large quick start guide. Here are the rest of the contents. We have an extra roller brush. We have an extra vacuum bag, extra filter, side cleaning brushes, 2 we need to use, 2 will be extra, power cord and cable, cleaning tool, hard floor cleaner. Take a look at that. This will install in the base. It will add the solution automatically. We have the vacuum and mop as well as the station here. Let's look at these in more detail. Starting with the UniClean station at the top, we have 2 handles here to remove the clean water tank and the dirty water tank. We can pull both of those out. And on the inside of the clean water tank, this is where we're going to install the included cleaning solution. First, we got to peel this sticker off, peel this sticker off, and now we'll position the cleaner just like so, and then it snaps and presses right in place. We now have our cleaning solution installed. Here's your close-up of the dirty water tank. We do have some plastic to remove on the front of this. And up at the top, we can open it up to reveal the float on the inside. And here's your close-up of the clean water tank. See it from all different sides and angles. And to fill this up, we go ahead, we pop open this lid right there. And that's how we're going to add our water. There's even a max fill indicator on this side of the tank for us, letting us know when we've added enough water. Here's your left side profile of the station. Here's your right side profile of the station. Here's a look at the back side of the station. Down at the bottom, you'll find a removable cover where we can plug in our power cord and wrap any extra cable right there. You'll also notice a micro USB port. I'm assuming that's for troubleshooting and support from Eufy's side, not anything that you would use. And then here's a look at the underside here. We have our grip feet. We also have 2 Phillips screws right here. We can remove this cover. That's going to be for the self-empty here. If we ever have any clogs or obstructions, we can get access right there. Definitely a nice touch and what you want to see in these systems if you ever have any issue. Now looking at it from the very front, at the top we have our clean water tank where we can always visually see how full and how much water we have left. Then we have the UniClean station branding down here at the bottom. And then underneath we have our charging contacts, water inlet there. We have our dust in. We have a couple different guide and drive wheels there. We also have a removable and washable cover that just snaps right in place. Back up at the top with the clean water tank removed, this is where we get access to the dust bag. So when it's time to replace, you just go ahead, pull out the old one and install the new one. We already have one installed in here, so you get 2 total, which is nice. So they give you an extra one, so you'll be all set and ready to go for a while, and you have nice, easy access to change that vacuum bag as needed. Moving along to our robot vacuum and mop, we got Eufy's logo and branding at the top. We have multiple control buttons as well as a removable cover that does have helpful maintenance tips and tricks and setup things for you here. We also have QR codes for the app and customer support. You'll find Wi-Fi indicator here, on and off switch. We got a reset button, removable dustbin. Take a look at the dustbin here from all different sides and angles. Up at the top, we have our filter replacement and cleaning and care instructions here. It pops right out. On this side, we have a little button we can press to get access to the dustbin for any manual emptying or cleaning. Further down, we have 2 buttons to press to release to get access to the water tank here. There's a 1, a 2, and a 3. You can grab these and pull to remove if needed. Make sure you press them back in place so they have a nice seal on them. And same with the main portion here. We have instructions and care. It's got a big seal on it and it just opens right up. So you got access to the inside there. And then just make sure you have it nice and shut again. But that's our water tank. Why don't we go ahead, we'll look at this from the side with that removed. Take a look at this mopping system. This is amazing. Look at how large that mop is with the coverage that we get and the fact that this cleans itself while in use is top notch. Onto the very front of our vacuum and mop, we got the 3D matrix eye system here with navigational bumper. You can see the side profile right here. Always clean mop branding on the side. On the back side of our water tank, we have our charging contacts. Here's a look at the other side. Additional sensors, our bumper, true course mapping. And then back to the front with the 3D matrix eye system. Now looking at the underside, we have our spring-loaded drive wheels, omnidirectional wheel. We have multiple cliff sensors, floor detect sensor there. There's our main mop. We got the S1 Pro information down here. Air in, dust out. Then color-coded, we have our left and right side cleaning brushes. Those will just snap right in place. Should snap right in place. There we go. Line them up and snap them in. Just like so. But that's the underside of it. Looks pretty sweet. There's a look at the top again. And we can snap our cover right back on. Really cool. Got a couple magnets on there to make sure it's going to be nice and snug. Now let's fill it up, charge it up, and try it out. All right, we just finished our first clean. Let's take a look at the results. First, we'll start with the RoboVac itself. I did intercept it before it would self-empty. We just disabled that so we could see the contents in the dustbin. So let's go, let's remove that, and let's see what we were able to vacuum up here. Very full already. So let's go ahead, let's dump this out and see those contents up close. Without making too much of a mess, we can pop open the door on the back right here. Look at that, so nasty. Let's dump all these goodies out. And let's see what we're able to vacuum up out of here. And I can tell a lot of this debris actually must have got wet in here because it's like stuck and dried on in there, which is really interesting. So make sure yours is dry before vacuuming. So we have a lot of hair and stuff stuck in there. I'm going to fault that to myself in doing some of our cleaning tests first, and it probably got some of those contents in there. But definitely something you want to keep an eye on. But look at this. We got Play-Doh pieces, pet hair, human hair, dirt, dust, debris. We have large pieces of content, smaller pieces of content, my Christmas tree, needles there. We have a live tree, food, glitter, popcorn. You get the idea. Just your typical household contents. Moving along to the underside here, we have our 2 side cleaning brushes. We have a couple of pieces of hair getting tangled, so keep an eye on that. Here's our main brush roller. That looks good and tangle-free. Again, we do have some residue and buildup here from our torture testing with some of our spills. So if you do have massive spills, you vacuum up and mop up. Make sure you wash this very quickly. All right, that was a little bit of an adventure there to get this button to release. Supposedly, you're supposed to be able just to pop that tank off, and then this should drop down automatically, revealing this button that you can press to remove. We had to use the included tool to kind of pry it in there, press the button to be able to remove it. But here's a look at our mop up close. It looks really clean still. We do have some red staining on this side of the mop. Nothing on the other side, and it looks really good. Same with everything in here. Friendly reminder, you're going to want to show this tank some love too, so follow the instructions right here to pop everything off to clean as desired. And moving right along, we have our removable drip tray here. Just wanted to show you what's collected on it already, but very easy to rinse and wipe this down. Moving along to the Eufy Clean app. It's available for iOS and Android devices. Here's our vacuum all set up. We're going to enter into it. We can see our previous clean, the row by row cleaning, how long it took, how much area it covered. On the right-hand side, we can edit our map. For those interested, you do have the ability to set up virtual walls and barriers, no-go zones, and no mop zones. You can also reconfigure the rooms by merging, dividing, or renaming. And you can also change the map display settings here. You can customize it to your liking. Down at the bottom, we have our room, auto, and zone cleaning options. You can add multiple zones and clean each zone up to 2 times. We have our station little icon there. We can empty the dust manually, wash the mop, or dry the mop, and we can access more station settings. And then we can pick and choose our cleaning modes, vacuum mode, and mop, or just vacuum only. I thought it was interesting. There's no mop only mode that I've been able to find, but we can adjust suction power and mop settings and how many times we want it to clean. We can also customize this on a room-by-room basis. You can edit that out too. And then top right-hand corner, let's look at a couple more settings here. We're going to select Manage Map. This does support multi-level mapping. You can add your new maps by selecting the plus icon or down at the bottom, creating a new map. You can set this on a schedule. You can view your cleaning history. Here's those base station settings. So toggle features on or off. Then we have our robot settings like Do Not Disturb, Auto Return Cleaning, Anti-Drop function, as well as Small Object Less Collision mode. You can also adjust the height, detection sensitivity, and you might want to spend a minute with the carpet cleaning settings. Choose what you want for carpet cleaning mode, vacuum only or normal cleaning, and if you want to turn off or on Boost IQ. And for those interested, manual controls, you can use your phone to drive the vacuum around. So it's a nice detailed app with a lot of settings that you can customize. We're left with the question, how does the Eufy S1 Pro stack up to the competition? Well, let's find out. We built out a database of over 80 plus robot vacuum cleaners and or vacuums and mops that we've personally tested. So we'll be looking at some key data and feature sets to get a better feel for this particular vacuum and how it stacks up against the competition. First, we're looking at cost. You'll notice compared to the average, this unit's going to cost almost twice as much as your typical robot vacuum cleaner. So with that lens, as we look at the performance and specs and features that it does or doesn't have, make sure you're filtering it through that lens for what you're paying for this vacuum. Hopefully that'll bring some clarity to you in your research and purchasing decision. Right out of the gate, we have max suction power. This is measured in pascals, 8,000 pascals of suction power. That's 3,300 pascals above the average. For a vacuum like this, that's nearing and at the flagship territory, especially within Eufy's own lineup. This is going to be their flagship vacuum. We're seeing anywhere from 8,000 at a minimum, all the way up to 12,000 pascals. Next, we have CFM. This is similar to suction power in regards to the higher, the better. Usually it's a nice leading indicator for how it's actually going to perform in the real world. In this case, we got a really solid solid score of 10 CFM. We do measure this in-house compared to the average of 6.9. So 3.1 CFM above the average. And great news here, we got a fantastic score in our actual carpet deep cleaning test where we embed coffee grounds into carpet and measure the before and after. So we got a perfect score with this vacuum. That's up there in some really top-notch territory with some fantastic models from Roborock and Dreamy. So it's great to see that eufy, with the system they've developed, is doing a great job actually cleaning in the real world. There is a downside to that effective carpet cleaning, and that's how loud this vacuum is. We always test this vacuuming carpets with all carpet boosts and the maximum suction power enabled. This peaked at 85 decibels. That is on the louder side for a robot vacuum cleaner, but again, that's at max settings. We usually see in the 80s or close to the 80s with these max settings, so it's technically a little bit louder, but all robot vacs, when they're revved up and spun up like that, they are going to be loud and noticeable. I can imagine most of you, probably like myself, you're not going to run it at that setting day in and day out. You'll just toggle that on or turn it on for really dirty areas, or maybe every once in a while you want to do like a deeper clean. If you have this running while you're out of the house, obviously that's not a big deal then how loud it is, or maybe it's running at night while you're sleeping, hopefully on another floor. Not going to be a big deal if you're going to be using it in that case, but if you're going to be home all the time with it running, then that's just something to consider. It is going to be on the louder side if you really want to take advantage of those max suction settings. And if you're going to be using those max suction settings, then you got to consider the battery life. This has a peak runtime of 180 minutes. It's great to see that we're above average here. So you'll notice the average is 167 minutes. So we got about 13 extra minutes of runtime versus your typical vacuum, but that's not going to be on the max setting. So keep that in mind too. The stronger the suction power you use, the shorter your battery life and runtime will be. And the reason we get that slightly better boost in runtime is due to the increased battery capacity. This has an unusually sized battery at 4,600 milliamp hours compared to the average of 4,000. Usually for vacuums like this, we'd expect a 5,200 milliamp hour battery. Bonus points if they included a 6,400 milliamp hour battery. That's the top one that we've seen so far. So really interesting that they made a slight compromise to the battery, whether that was a design reason for the mop vacuum. I don't really know the reason why. Maybe it's just a cost-cutting measure, but it's technically below the average for a vacuum in this price range that usually has 5,200 milliamp hours or better. Next, we can talk about height. This vacuum comes in at 3.8 inches. The average is 3.7. This is technically a little bit shorter than your LiDAR-equipped robot vacuum cleaners, but not by much. You think it would be a little bit shorter due to not having that module. You're not getting that much of a gain here versus some other models, but this does have a unique form factor. It's more square, which can help in corners, or theoretically should help in corners. If it would navigate close enough to those corners, you'd be at an advantage there with the form factor versus your typical circular and round vacuum cleaners. A notable feature present on this vacuum, which I would argue you should expect today, especially again, where this vacuum sits in the market, is self-empty. We're seeing that on 67% of the vacuums out there today that we've tested. For those wondering about the internal dustbin capacity, this comes in at 240 milliliters. That's going to be below average, but well within the range for self-emptying vacuums, where honestly, this is kind of an obsolete metric to use because you're not emptying the dustbin yourself. If you had a non-self-emptying vacuum that didn't have the ability to empty itself, then you would want a larger dustbin because that's going to minimize your trips to emptying it in your trash can, so you want the larger dustbin. Since it can do it itself, it's kind of a moot point. And another feature we're seeing very common out there today is mopping. Now, this has a unique mopping system that we'll talk about, but the good news here is this is equipped with vacuuming and mopping capabilities, and we're seeing that on 67% of vacuums that we've tested. And for those interested in the water tank capacity, this is measured in milliliters. We have a 220 milliliter water tank capacity. That's 10 milliliters above the average. That's going to be a really nice and solid number, especially with this unique mopping system where you need to have that fresh water readily available so it can use it to continually clean itself and your floors. Now, a feature notably absent from our S1 Pro that I thought this was included with is hot water mop washing, but it does not appear to have hot water mop washing. It's just going to use your room temperature water, whatever you put into the tank. I'd love to see that added in the future, specifically at the station, and if they can incorporate hot water or heated hot water in the unit itself as it's actually cleaning itself in real time with this mopping system, that would be a game changer. Now, the feature that sets this unit apart is its real-time self-cleaning for the mopping system. Think about having your Tyneco built into a robot. That's really what you get with this system. So compared to the competition, we've only had one other model. It's from Eureka. It's the J20 that also has this feature. And we really like this from a mopping perspective. It does a fantastic job, especially for really messy floors or bigger spills, where you don't have to rely on the unit going back to the station. It can just handle it all in real time without even batting an eye. Good news too with this system, it is able to still lift the mop pad when it encounters carpets. 12mm mop lift, that's actually 2mm above the average of 10mm. The higher the better, because that just means you're making less and less contact with your favorite carpets or rugs. But a feature notably absent from the system is mop extend. They should still be able to find a way to kick the mop out to help clean along corners, edges, and baseboards better. We'd like to see that added in the future, just having the ability for the mop to slide out as needed. With this unique mopping system design, it also doesn't have the capability of removing the mop pad, so since it's a big roller brush, that's not really feasible that I'm aware of. Maybe in the future. The compromise is just lifting it up, but we have come to really like that feature on Dreamy models where it's smart enough to leave the mop pads behind at the station to go out and vacuum, then come back, put them on, and then conduct your mopping. So there's no risk at all whatsoever of making contact with your carpets and rugs. Not a big deal to us, but we know a lot of users out there really care about that. And for my iRobot people out there, this unit is not equipped with a dual roller brush system. You may or may not want to have that feature. From our experience, iRobot really seems to make more out of that system than the competition when we've seen them in Roborock units. But if you like those dual roller designs, this doesn't have it, but only 26% of models out there do that we've tested, and that skews to iRobot versus the competition, so very standard and not out of the ordinary. Another observation is there's no LED light present on this vacuum. A lot of the other top-of-the-line vacuums do have an LED. Some you can even turn on or off, especially like if you're in live video monitoring modes. This unit does not have one, but it is able with its 3D Matrix Eye system to navigate just fine in low light environments. We're only seeing an LED light on about 8% of the models that we test. And I just mentioned it, but video monitoring, this does have a camera that you can access to use this as more than just a vacuum and a mop. Now it becomes a home surveillance or security device that you can use to drive around your house. If you're out of the house to check on your pet, your kids, whatever it may be, you can do that right from your phone. So where does that leave us with our eufy S1 Pro? Let me share with you my final thoughts. Here's what you need to know. This vacuum really excels in the mopping department with its real-time self-cleaning. We expect to see more models in the next year or so having this style of mopping. I think that's going to be something that we'll start to see industry-wide. It's really cool and just has such great coverage. Again, it's like having a Tyneco built into your mop. Also, the station on this unit with the touchscreen, if you don't want to use your phone controls, you'll appreciate having simple controls right at your fingertip at the station where the vacuum is located. And the station's got a cool design. I really like how it looks. And the auto solution adding and dispensing is always a welcome feature that we want to see on more and more of these mopping models. It's just one less thing you have to worry about. I can also speak pretty favorably to the design of this vacuum. It's really refreshing and I like how it looks. It's more square, which usually lends itself to being better at edges and walls. In this case though, from our experience, it doesn't hug the edges and walls enough. It's leaving some room that could easily be cleaned, and in fact, this vacuum should be able to clean more than your typical vacuum. Also, it's a real bummer that they don't have the side extending and reaching brush. That's definitely a miss with this vacuum. No hot water mop washing too is a bummer, especially on the station. That should be a given, but I'd love to see that incorporated into the actual real-time cleaning. That would really become a game changer. And we found that the app has limited functionality compared to the competition and competitors of like Dreamy and Roborock. There's just not as much customization. Specifically, one of my pet peeves is there's no mop only mode, or we can't find it. You can vacuum and mop or just vacuum. We want to have a mop only mode. Maybe that'll come in a future update. I don't know, but that's what you should know about the eufy S1 Pro.